Core engagement, particularly for women with osteoporosis or pelvic floor dysfunction. So I'd been teaching Pilates a long time when I discovered I had osteoporosis, and my research brought me to really reevaluate how I approach core engagement. So core is not just your transverse abdominis, these muscles that wrap all the way around and basically act like a corset. In Pilates, we were very focused on transverse abdominis, or as we called it, TA. And it was TA, TA, TA. And the way we engaged it was to suggest people envision pulling in their navel towards their spine. So let me tell you why I moved away from that instruction. There are two things that happen when people pull their navel towards their spine. Sometimes they really over-engage the top, so they're pushing their internal obliques down. That creates pressure in the pelvic floor. The other thing that happens is they tuck their tail. And we do know for osteoporosis, you really don't want to be creating spinal flexion. That is when fractures can occur. So I always use a stick, and we're not going to go into this heavily here, but I use a stick to show people that when you have osteoporosis, you really want to keep 3 points of contact on that stick. So that's the back of your head, the back of your rib cage, and the back of your pelvis, which is called your sacrum. Now, not everybody can have their head on the stick, and I do understand that, but we at least want to focus on the rib cage and the back of the pelvis. So if we are doing a breathing technique that causes the back of our pelvis to move away from that stick, that is spinal flexion, and it's a no bueno for osteoporosis. So let's take a look at what I do believe really helps. What I have seen with hundreds and hundreds of clients really help. Number one, because we are concerned about osteoporosis and pelvic floor dysfunction, we talk about a 3D breath, and I use the strap always to help teach people about breathing in a way that allows you to move your ribs into a strap. We want movement in the rib cage for the health of your upper back and your ribs. Believe it or not only are you helping the bone density of your ribs because of the muscular pressures that are created, but you're also helping the flexibility of your upper back, which, if it's too stiff, is going to put pressure into your pelvic floor. Don't worry about all that. Let's just talk about how can we cue ourselves to engage the muscles of our core, not just our transverse abdominis, but all of them. And that includes little muscles on your back called the multifidus. It sometimes includes your glutes as well. So let's get going. First thing we're going to do is seated, and we're going to talk about blowing out 100 birthday candles on your exhale. So we inhale, inflating our lungs and therefore our ribs, and then we exhale, blowing out 100 birthday candles. And you blow those birthday candles out to the very, very, very end. And what did you notice at the end? Maybe a little tightening here. Let's put our hands here and do it again. Did you notice at the very end this little reflexive tightening? That's your innate reflexive core. Fabulous. Hopefully you felt it. If you didn't, I'm going to suggest you try another way of getting there. And if you don't come to your hands and knees because of your knees, you can put your hands on a stool or a countertop and still do the same thing from your feet. So we inhale and then exhale. And sometimes from this position, you can really feel it. If you didn't feel it, let's just let go of our belly. Let it really hang out. Don't push it out, but just let it go. And then inhale into the sides and backs of your lungs, and then exhale. Exhaling all the way, all the way, all the way out. and maybe at the end you eventually feel a little tightening in your abdomen. Well, that's great. That's your reflexive core, and we are going to try to harness that and add to it in order to purposefully engage our core when we're doing something like lifting a weight or doing a plank or doing any kind of exercise in anything you do, whether it's weightlifting or not. So inhale, sides and backs of your lungs. Exhale, start that birthday candle exhale, but we're going to envision a marble at your pubic bone going up and behind your belly button. And you do that without changing your spine. So we inhale and then exhale. And maybe when you envision that marble traveling up and behind your belly button, you feel more tightening, that you've harnessed your core. That's the work that you want to do. That's the work that you want to have, that engagement, that almost stiffening of your core that helps you maintain a neutral spine. Because the whole goal here is maintaining a neutral spine and not putting pressure into your pelvic floor. So if you'd like to know more, I have many more videos for you to see. Many of them are free on YouTube, but that's the general idea, and it's so vitally important. Now, if you tell me that for some of you, you don't feel anything, then the other idea that I have, rather than navel to spine, is to take these two sticking out hip bones and imagine drawing them together. So the same exhale, but you imagine drawing those two frontal hip bones drawing together. For some people, that helps them feel that core just a little bit more. If nothing like that works, then I will have somebody put the stick on their back and then try navel to spine from this position so that we don't move your spine when you imagine your navel drawing to your spine. The thing I like to have people also do sometimes is hold on to their top muscles in their rib cage, the obliques, to make sure we're not over pressuring those down. I know that seems like a lot. How about we just practice for a while, marble traveling up?